Hello everyone, welcome to the final part of physics chapter 1, electricity. So today we are going to finish this chapter. Before that, we'll take one doubt. Everyone had this doubt in the homework. Question number 6. A wire of resistance 20 ohm is bent in the form of a closed circle. What is the effective resistance between 2 points at the end of any diameter of the circle? Very nice question. Let's find the answer. So first of all, there was a wire which was bent in the form of circle. So this is the wire. Okay, the resistance of this wire is 20 ohm. Now this wire is bent in the form of a circle. Okay, so can you tell me what will be the resistance of this wire now? It still will be 20 ohms, but it depends that where are we calculating the resistance. We are calculating the resistance across any two of its ends, that is the diameter, correct? The diametrically opposite ends, point A, point B. Okay, so these 2 points are diametrically opposite. Let's say this is the center of the circular wire. There is no wire joining A and B. Okay, just understand that. Now the resistance of whole wire was 20. Can you tell me what will be the resistance of this upper part of the circle, this part? What will be the resistance of this part? The resistance of this part, since it is half the length of the actual wire, the resistance of this upper part will be half the value of the resistance of the whole wire, which is 10 ohm. Similarly, the resistance of the bottom part will also be 10 ohm. So we can simplify this figure and draw it like this. Right? So there are two nodes, A and B, and two resistors of 10 ohm each are connected in parallel across these two nodes. So both are the same figures. The shape of the wire does not matter, whether it's circular or rectangular. Whichever shape you can understand to solve this further, which is helpful to you, you can use that shape. So let's find the equivalent resistance between the two ends of the wire. So the equivalent resistance in parallel is equal to the sum of the reciprocal of two individual resistances. So 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon 10 plus 1 upon 10. So 1 upon Rp is equal to 2 upon 10, which is 1 upon 5. And therefore Rp is equal to 5 ohm. Rp is equal to 5 ohm. Correct? So now we can see that the equivalent resistance of this wire across any 2 points on its diameter is 5 ohm. So we should check the answer, right? So for you, I've got the answers also. These are the answers of the whole exercise. Let me show it to you. Okay, what I want you to do is, I want you to pause the video and check the answers of all your questions. There are few answers which are not given, 2, 3 and 4. Apart from that, I can see all the answers over here. 1 is also not given, of course. But apart from that, whichever answers are here, you can just pause the video and check them. Right? Our answer of 6th question is absolutely correct. 5 ohm. So I hope all your doubts are clear now and we can move ahead now. So pause and check your answer. We are moving ahead. Okay, let's go. So we are on the last part of the chapter, that is heating effect of electric current, electric power. Let's study what is this. So whenever electric current flows through a wire, due to the resistance of the wire, and resistance is present in any conductor, even if it is the best conductor, some amount of resistance is always present. So the wire gets heated up, and it is the same reason why you see different electrical devices getting heated up after a prolonged use. Let it be an electric bulb or LED bulb or tube light, right? Your refrigerator, your mobile charger, your laptop, your computer, your TV, all these electrical appliances which uses electric energy, they get heated up after a prolonged use. Why do they get heated up? Because they consist of a particular circuit, and circuit is made up of conductor, and through any conductor when electric current flows, it has to overcome a certain resistance. Resistance can be as low as possible, but there will be resistance. The resistance will never be zero as in the case of superconductors. We cannot use superconductors in our day-to-day lives. So resistance will be there. And in order to overcome resistance, the current has to do some work. It has to spend some energy. And this energy is converted into some useful form and some non-useful form. That non-useful form is heating effect. Now tell me, in electric bulb, what is the use of heat? Is it a useful or desirable form of energy? Absolutely not. What about your other electrical appliances, your TV, your refrigerator, your mobile charger? When they get heated up, do you use that heat energy? No, so that's an undesirable form of energy which is produced. But there is no other alternative. We can minimize this production of this heat energy, which is undesirable form of energy, but we cannot make it absolutely nil or zero, because there will be some amount of resistance always present in the electrical circuit. So here we will derive a formula for finding that heat energy which is produced when a current flows through a conductor. Let's see how it is done. So suppose a Q amount of charge flows through a potential difference of V. Then work done is W is equal to QV. W is equal to QV. From where did we get this formula? You remember V is equal to W by Q. So W is equal to Q multiplied by V. Now we know that I is equal to Q by T. So what will be the formula for Q? Q will be equal to IT. So in this first formula, if in the place of Q, I put its value as IT, I get the value of W, work done, that is VIT. VIT, remember this. See, now we had a formula W is equal to VIT. What if we use Ohm's law and put the value of V, which is equal to IR in this formula? We'll get W is equal to, in the place of V, I put I into R. I is current, R is resistance, multiplied by IT. IT is always there, right? So IR into IT is I square RT. This is the heat energy generated. Heat energy generated as I square RT. Remember it. W is equal to VIT or I square RT. These both formula are valid, okay? VIT or I square RT. So heat energy is directly proportional to the square of the current. It is directly proportional to the resistance, and it is directly proportional to the time for which the current flows in the conductor. That means if you double the current, heat energy becomes 4 times. Heat energy becomes 4 times. If you double the resistance, heat energy also doubles. If you pass the electric current for double the time, heat energy also generated is double, right? So if you double the electric current, heat energy generated will be 4 times. If you double resistance or time, heat energy will also be doubled. So these relationships are very, very important. The heat energy generated in a conductor depends on 3 factors: current, resistance, and time. And this formula, H is equal to I square RT, is known as Joule's heating effect. Remember the formula, or not the formula, you can say, remember the law. It's not even the law, it's a phenomena. Okay, so this formula H is equal to I square RT, it's a phenomenon of heating effect of electric current, which is also known as Joule's heating effect. Let's go ahead. There are some applications of heating effect of current. Heating effect of current is used in electric toaster, electric water heaters, electric iron, room heaters. So these devices, they deliberately want to generate heat, because heat is also a form of energy and is a very useful form of energy. If you want to heat water, cook food, toast bread, iron your clothes, heat up your room, you need heat energy. So you will use electrical energy to convert into heat energy. So when electrical energy gets converted into heat energy, you can use it for various purposes like stated here. So for these devices, they use a heating element made up of nichrome, manganese, or constant tan because of its high resistivity. High resistivity means high resistance. High resistance means more heat will be produced. Also, they have very high melting point. So in exam, they might ask you this question, that why nichrome, manganese, and constant tan materials are suitable for making an heating element for a device which generates heat. So you can say that these materials have high resistivity, so they will generate more heat on the passage of electric current. Also, they have high melting point. So they will not oxidize easily. One more property which makes these alloys useful for such applications is that their resistivity is not much affected by increase in temperature. Generally, increase in temperature increases the resistivity, but here it is not the case. In case of these alloys, nichrome is an alloy of nickel and chromium. Manganese and constant tan are also alloys. So you will study about alloys in chemistry, chapter number 3, metals and non-metals. Right now, nichrome is important. Other alloys you will study later. Electric fuse. In electric fuse also, heating effect of electric current is utilized. Fuse wire has a low melting point. It's a safety device. It has low melting point. When high current passes through fuse wire, it melts due to the heating effect of current, and circuit breaks, thereby protecting the appliance from high current damage. A fuse is connected in live wire. We are going to study about fuse further. Then electric bulb also uses heating effect of electric current to give us light. Although heat is not utilized, but that heat which produces light is very useful. So what happens is, in electric bulb there is a filament, and that filament is made up of tungsten. You know tungsten? It is an element. Tungsten. What is the symbol of tungsten? The symbol, chemical symbol of tungsten is W, capital W. Okay, so tungsten filament is used, and it is coated upon by some metals like thorium. Thorium, yes, if I'm not wrong, it is thorium. So thorium is coated on tungsten, and this thorium coated tungsten filament has very high melting point. It does not melt easily. It has a melting point of 3380 degrees Celsius. And on heating this, on passing electricity through this thorium coated tungsten filament, it becomes white hot. It becomes white hot and it emits a lot of light. So first it is heated and then it emits light. So again, this is a example of heating effect of electric current. The bulb is also filled with chemically inert gases such as neon or argon, as tungsten should not react with air, oxygen present in air. So in the bulb there are some inert gases, noble gases like neon or argon filled, right, at low pressure. So it is a partially evacuated bulb. So whenever a bulb breaks, you might have heard a loud sound. Why? Because there was vacuum inside the bulb, and when the bulb breaks, suddenly the vacuum is broken and it produces a large sound. Okay, so these are applications of heating effect of current. So H is the total amount of energy used in time, seconds, and the formula for finding H are I square RT, V square T by R, and VIT, where I is current, V is potential difference, and R is the resistance, and T is time in seconds. Next topic is electric power. I'm sure you're taking notes, right? I've given many important informations regarding small topics. So please take notes. Don't miss out on any single topic because there are some numericals which are coming ahead. And for solving numericals, there are so many formulas which we will need, which we are discussing already. So I want you to remember each and every formula. For that, you should take notes. Electric power. The rate at which energy is used by an electrical appliance is called the electrical power of that appliance. Now remember, in class 9, you have already studied about work, energy and power. And power is the rate at which work is done, work upon time. So work is, and energy is the capacity to do work. So power can also be written as energy upon time. So the formula of power is W by T or E by T. Now we know that the formula for work done or electrical energy is I square RT or V square T by R or VIT. These three formulae we have. So power will be I square RT upon T or V square T by R upon T or VIT by T. In all the three cases, T gets cancelled. So three formulae for power are, the first one is I square R as we saw here. The second one is V square by R, V square by R. And the third one is V into I, V into I. These are the three formulae for power in context of electricity. In context of electricity, okay, there is another definition of power which we have studied in class 9, that is mechanical power, work done upon time taken. A simple formula, mechanical power. So this is not mechanical power, remember, this is electrical power. That's why the formulae are little different, because potential difference, resistance and current are also involved here. The SI unit of power is watt, named after a physicist, James Watt, and power is a scalar quantity. Right? I hope you remember all this. So power has three formulae. All these formulae are applicable in all conditions, but its use should be done very wisely. So which formula of power you have to use, you should think and use it very wisely, because you will come across such uh, problems where you can use one formula of power but not the other one. If you use two different formulae for power, you will get two different answers. So it's a very strange formula. Very strange conditions are there, situations are there in which you should choose the formula of power very wisely, right? Let's define watt in context of electricity. We know that 1 watt is the amount of power developed when 1 joule of work is done in 1 second. That formula for 1 watt we have learnt in class 9th, but in class 10th we will again redefine 1 watt in context of electricity. So when voltage is 1 volt, when current is 1 ampere, and then power can be said to be as 1 watt. So 1 watt is equal to 1 volt into 1 ampere. Very important definition. An electrical appliance is said to be of power 1 watt. An electrical appliance is said to be of power 1 watt if it draws a current of 1 ampere when connected to a potential difference of 1 volt. Please note down this definition. An electrical appliance is said to be of power 1 watt if it draws a current of 1 ampere when connected to a potential difference of 1 volt. Also remember, there is a multiple unit of power, kilowatt. 1 kilowatt is 1000 watt. Watt is a very small unit of power. That's why there is a need for a commercial unit of electrical energy. So I would like to discuss some more things over here regarding commercial unit of electrical energy. Now at your home, you all might be getting electric bills, right? Electric bills. Have you ever observed these bills? In these bills, what they show is the amount of electrical energy consumed by you. So you are a consumer. You also you have a proper meter number, a consumer number. So consumed energy is the energy which is utilized by you. So this energy, consumed energy, how much energy you are using, it is shown in that electric meter. Meter is continuously calculating how much electrical energy you are using. So the electric supply department, which is in Mumbai, Maharashtra, it is MSEB, Maharashtra State Electric Board, MSEB. So MSEB organization, they send their people to check their meters which are kept in your meter room below your building. There is a meter room. It's a dark place. You should not go there alone in night. I'm just kidding. You should not go there without permission of an authorized person. So generally in a building, the meter room is also always closed. It is always locked. Okay, because there are so many wires and high voltage supply over there. So if you touch anything by mistake, you can get a huge shock. Correct? So you should not enter this meter room on your own. So MSEB organization, the electricity supply department, they send their people to check their meters. It is your meter actually, but it is given to you by the company. So the company will check your meter and they will take the reading periodically. Every month they come and take the reading. And that reading is basically the energy which you have consumed during a particular period, right? So that consumed energy, that reading, is in the units of commercial unit of electric energy, which is informally known as units. So how many units of electrical energy you have consumed, that number they will always note from your meter. You can also note from your meter. You can also see that whether the bill is coming too low or too high. You can check whether there is a fault with the meter or not. You can just take the reading. You cannot check, means we cannot open and repair it, right? That job is of MSEB. You should not touch any electrical devices without any supervision or guidance. So what is this units? This board of trade unit or commercial unit of electrical energy is kilowatt hour. kWh, one unit is 1 kilowatt hour. So if you have any electric bill right now at your home, pause the video and go and check the electric bill. What is written on it? So you will see some units like 490 units used by you in a certain months. Like this, something like this would have been mentioned. Correct? So that, what is this unit? This is basically kilowatt hour. So you have used 490 kilowatt hour of energy in that particular month. So this energy, this units will be multiplied with the rate at which the company is selling you electricity. Suppose the company is selling you electricity at rupees 5 per unit. So this 490 will be multiplied by 5, and whatever product you will get, that is the amount of money you have to pay as a bill to the company. Right now the kilowatt hour idea is clear, but what is this kilowatt hour equal to? Let's find it out. So energy of 1 kilowatt hour is spent when an electrical appliance of 1 kilowatt is used for 1 hour. Again you will say, sir, I did not understand because I don't know what is 1 kilowatt. I understand that when an electrical appliance is used for 1 hour, but what do you mean by an electrical appliance of 1 kilowatt hour is used for 1 hour? Let us understand what is 1 kilowatt hour. 1 kilowatt hour is 1 kilowatt multiplied by 1 hour. So what is 1 kilowatt? I just showed you over here. 1 kilowatt is 1000 watt, right? So you will write 1 kilowatt is 1000 volt multiplied by 1 hour is 3600 seconds. 1000 watt multiplied by 3600 seconds, that is 36 lakh watt second. Okay, please pay attention here. 36 lakh watt second. What is watt? What is I'm not asking what is what. Okay, I'm not asking this. Please don't get confused. I am asking what is watt. Some teacher, they also call it watt. It is not watt. It is James Watt, okay, named after a scientist, physicist who discovered steam engine. So watt. What is watt? What is watt? It is joule per second. Watt is 1 watt is 1 joule per second. Okay, so can I write it as joule upon second into second? Yes, watt second is joule per second into second, and second will get cut. So what is this? 36 lakh joule. What is 36 lakh joule? 36 lakh joule is equal to 1 kilowatt hour. So in 1 kilowatt hour, 36 lakh joule of energy is contained, and you have used for 490 kilowatt hour approximately. For an example, you generally use this much energy. We, us, everyone, we use like some hundreds kilowatt hour of energy every month. Now you tell me whether you would like to measure electrical energy commercially, which is used by you in your homes and your shops, in kilowatt hour or in joules. Which unit will be convenient to you, kilowatt hour or joule? If it would have been in joule, then you would see electric bill as, let's say, 4 something like this. I'll show you, not 490, but if you multiply 36 lakh with 490, it would look like 343708000 joules. You would see this number and you would faint. You will say that, oh, this much money I have to pay. That's not the amount you are paying. That is the joules of energy. But when you are using such small units and your number is such a big number, there can be a mistake also in calculation. Even if you put 1 0 extra or 1 0 less, just imagine how big will the mistake be. So to avoid these hassles, what we do is we use a bigger unit of electrical energy for measuring commercial use of electricity. That is kilowatt hour. Now you understand why do we use kilowatt hour? Because kilowatt hour is a bigger unit of electrical energy. Correct? One more reason I can give you before we go ahead. Let's talk about one more justification why kilowatt hour is convenient unit to be used for measuring electricity. So in your home, suppose you have a light bulb or LED, and it is for 6 watt. Its capacity or its power is 6 watt. What do you mean by 6 watt? It uses 6 joule of energy per second. It uses 6 joules of energy per second. That's the meaning of 6 watt. Okay. So you will say, okay, then 6 watt is not a big number. No, we can use 6. We can use watt as the unit. Why we are using kilowatt hour? We can use 6 joule. We can use joule as the unit of electrical energy. Why kilowatt hour? So let me ask you this question, that in your home, do you have only one bulb which you are using? No, there are so many bulbs. So a light bulb multiplied by 10 you have in your home. You will say, okay, no problem. So 6 into 10 is 60 joules. Still the number is very small. Okay, next question. Do you use this light bulb only for 1 second? Only for 1 second? No, you use it for hours and hours. And in 1 hour itself, there are 3600 seconds. So suppose you use it for 10 hours. It will be 10 multiplied by 3600 multiplied by 10. 10 bulbs used for 10 hours in 1 day. Now the number is getting bigger. Again, one more thing I would like to ask you. Do you have only light bulbs in your home? You don't have any other devices? Yes, you have fans, you have tube lights, yeah, you have TV, you have heater, water heater, you have ACs, you have computers, you have washing machines, and so many things. Are they all having this small power rating? No, absolutely not. A heater has 1200 watts of power used for some hours a day. TV has some power, tube light fans, they all have huge powers. They all are used for some hours a day. Now, if you add all those energies in joules per second or watt, you will get a huge number. Also multiply it with their time for which they are used. So that's why if you measure the electrical energy in joules, it will be very inconvenient for you to get the total number. That's why an electrical appliances electrical energy consumption is always preferred to be measured in kilowatt hour. I'm sure now you understand the importance of kilowatt hour, right? So this was just to clear your concept, because you might have these questions in your mind that why we are doing this, why we are using this. In physics, you must ask questions. You must have questions in your mind to ask, and that too proper question, legitimate question, not just any question. Okay, let's go ahead. Rating of electrical appliance, also very important topic. If you see an electric bulb or any other electrical appliance, then you also find some physical quantities written on it, printed on it. On a bulb, for example, it is written 60 watt 220 volts. This means that the bulb is meant to be used across a potential difference of 220 volts, and when it is used across 220 volts, it will consume a power of 60 watt. Just imagine this, that you have a bulb on which the power rating written is 60 watt, right? And the voltage is 220 volt. So when you use it across a voltage of 220 volt, it will consume a power of 60 watt. That is 60 joule per second energy will be consumed by this bulb when it is connected to 220 volt supply. What if the voltage drops? कभी कभी होता है ना, फ्लक्चुएशन होता है वोल्टेज में, वोल्टेज फ्लक्चुएशन, लाइट ऐसी डिम हो जाती है. यहाँ पे तो नहीं होता, गांव में देखते होगे तुम. So ये जब voltage fluctuation होता है, that what do you mean by that? That means if the voltage falls to 110 volt, what will happen to the electric energy consumed? If the voltage becomes half, the electrical energy will also become half. It will become 30 watt. You understand? It will become half. The bulb will now not consume as much power as it used to consume on full voltage. It will consume half the power. So what do you mean by it will consume half the power? It will glow dimly. It will become dim. Okay? So this voltage rating which is written on a bulb is very significant. It is very important. They have not just printed anything. It has its own meaning. 220 volt, 60 watt. At 220 volt, the bulb will consume 60 watt, 60 joules of energy per second. From these two informations which are given to you, 60 watt, 220 volt, you can find other values also. If you know physics, if you are a physics student, and you are a physics student, you should be proud of it, you can find resistance of the bulb when it is fully used, in full use. The resistance will be V square by R. So, sorry, V square by P. So, V square by P is 220 square by 60 or 806.67 ohm. You can find the current rating. Current rating will be V into, sorry, P is equal to V into I. So, I is equal to P by V. 60 by 220. So, 0.27 ampere. So, when the bulb which is of rating 60 watt is connected to a supply of 220 volt, it will show a resistance of 806.67 ohms, and it will allow a current of 0.27 ampere to flow through it. This is the maximum current which can flow into the bulb without damaging it, right? So we got the value of maximum current. This maximum current is also known as safe value current. Safe value current. So you can find how much maximum current can flow through the bulb. So there is one information which is given here. Let's just read that. Remember, in numerical problems, you can find R from the rated value of the appliance, that is V by P, V square by P, or from the given values of V and I across R. If the resistor is used across some other potential difference, then the value of R remains the same if temperature remains constant. So this we will apply in numericals and check what they are talking about. Let's start with the numericals. A current of 1 ampere, a current of, just a moment, a current of 1 ampere is passed through a resistor of resistance 20 ohms for 1 minute. Note what I am doing. I'm just noting whatever they have given me. Find the heat produced in the resistor. You remember the formula for heat? Heat is equal to I square RT. So 1 square into 20 into 60. That is 1200 joule. 1200 joules of heat is produced in the resistor. Correct? Let's check the answer. Perfect. You can also solve with me. You can check the question, understand what you have to do, and then you can pause the video and solve it and check the answer with me. If you do this, it's a good practice. I cannot make sure that you are doing that right now, but I trust you that you will do it, and this all things will help you generate you a good result. Remember that. A resistor of resistance 20 ohms is connected across a potential difference of 20 volts for 1 minute. Calculate the heat produced in the resistor. So the second formula for heat, you remember it? It is H is equal to V square T by R. V square T by R, or V square by R into T. So 20 square multiplied by 60, that is time, upon 20. 20 square and 20 will cut, so 1200 joules. 1200 joules again. Correct? So we can use H is equal to I square RT or V square T by R depending upon the requirement. Correct? Calculate the resistance of a bulb rated 100 watt. Power of the bulb is given 100 watt. And voltage is 220 volt. You have to calculate the resistance. What is the current flowing in the bulb when it is connected to a potential difference of 220 volt? So we know the formula we know the relationship between P, V and R. Let's use it. P is equal to V square by R. So we have to find R. So it becomes R is equal to V square by P. So 200 into 200 upon P is 100. So R is equal to 400 ohm. R is equal to 400 ohm. Right? This is the resistance of the bulb when it is in use. Now what current is flowing through the bulb when it is in use? So V is equal to IR and I is equal to V by R. This is the formula we are going to use. So I is equal to V 200 upon R 400, which is 0.5 ampere. I is equal to 0.5 ampere. Let's check. Okay, there is some mistake. I took potential difference as 200, but it was 220. Okay, so let me do it again. I thought I made a mistake, but I could not recognize my mistake. So all my formulae were correct, but the value was wrong. V square by P. See, here itself I have written it wrong. It should be 220. So 220 multiplied by 220 upon 100. So 22 square, 22 22s are 484 ohm, and I is equal to 220 upon 484, which comes out to be 0.45 ampere. So we got the resistance and current, correct? You can also find current with the help of this formula, P is equal to V into I, which gives you 0.45 ampere only, right? So third question solved. Let's go ahead. A current of 0.45 ampere flowing in a resistor dissipate 100 joule of energy in 1 second. Okay, a current of 0.45 ampere flowing in a resistor dissipates 100 joule of energy in 1 second. So power is 100 watt. 100 joule of energy in 1 second means our power is 100 watt. Calculate the resistance of the resistor. Okay, let's use the formula. So you remember that formula for electrical energy or heat energy was I square RT, right? What was one more formula? V square T by R and VIT. Why I'm writing all this formula again? So that you should know that which formula to use in which question. So in this question, we want resistance, we have been given power and current. You must be wondering why I'm writing the formula for electrical energy. Because electrical energy divided by time will give you power. So if you divide by time everywhere, what you will get? You will get power. Right? So I square RT upon T will give you I square R. This will give you V square by R. And this will give you V into I. So power has three formulae. I square R, V square by R and VI. Which formula to use? So in this, we know that we have I and we have IP and we have to find R. So if we write the formula, P is equal to I square R and substitute the value, 100 is equal to 0.45 square multiplied by R, will get R as 100 divided by 0.45 into 0.45. On solving this further, we will get 493.8 ohm. You can check the calculations. So that's why all these three formulae for heat or electrical energy or power are very, very important. You should remember these three formulae all the time, because in any question, any case can come up and you have to use any formula, right? Let's do the next question. An electrical appliance of 1000 watt is used 6 hours a day. An electrical appliance of 1000 watt is used 6 hours per day. Okay, so the power is 1000 watt. The time is 6 hours per day. Okay, we'll calculate everything, don't worry. Okay, so 6 hours can be written as 6 into 3600 seconds per day. What is the electricity bill of the appliance in 1 day if the rate charged by electricity board is rupees 4 per unit? So rate is rupees 4 per unit. Cool. Can you tell me what do you mean by this word unit over here? We know that 1 unit, we now know that 1 unit is equal to 1 kilowatt hour. 1 unit is 1 kilowatt hour. Correct? And the rate at which electricity is sold by the electricity board to us is rupees 4 per unit. What we have to find is the electrical energy consumed by our appliance in one day in the unit of kilowatt hour. We don't have kilowatt hour here. We have power and we have time. But it's easy. We know that power is equal to work done or energy consumed upon time. So that means energy is equal to power into time. What is the energy? 1000 watt. What is the time? 6 into 3600 seconds. So we have here watt and we have seconds over here. Can we convert it into kilowatt hour? Yes. Actually, I made a mistake here. There is no need of writing in seconds over here. We needed kilowatt hour. Okay? So this could have been 6 hours per day only. So here also I will erase this thing. And I will write simply 6 hours. 6 hours. Okay, only this thing has to be converted now. So 1000 watt is 1 kilowatt multiplied by 6 hours. So that is 6 kilowatt hour. The energy consumed by that electrical appliance is 6 kilowatt hour in one day. Okay, and what is the cost now of the electricity? Cost of electricity is equal to the electricity consumed, that is energy consumed multiplied by charge, sorry, multiplied by rate, So what is the rate? Electricity consumed is 6 kilowatt hour and the rate is rupees 4 per kilowatt hour. So the total amount which is charged by the electricity board is rupees 24 in this case. Let's see if our answer is correct. So yes, 24 rupees, 6 unit or 6 kilowatt hour. Correct? So this is how you solve it. If you have any doubts, please pause, note it down, and then we'll go ahead. The next question. This one will be important. Looks a big question. Looks like it's important, and it is. Two lamps, one rated 60 watt at 220 volt and the other at 40 watt at 220 volt are connected in parallel to the electric supply at 220 volt. Okay, two lamps are connected in parallel, one 60 watt and one 40 watt, both operated at 220 volt. Draw a circuit diagram to show the connections. So that is ready for you. Circuit diagram. Calculate the current drawn from electric supply. Very nice question. For calculating the current drawn, we have to find the resistance of each bulb. Let us make some space and write it. Let the resistance of bulb, let the resistance of 60 watt bulb, the resistance of bulb of 60 watt be R1, and let the resistance of 40 watt bulb of 40 watt be R2. Let the resistance of 60 watt bulb be R1 and 40 watt bulb be R2. Let's find the value of resistance. Okay, so we knew the formula for resistance, right? Let's write here bulb 1. What is the power of bulb 1? P1. P1 is equal to 60 watt. What is the voltage? V1, 220 volt. What we have to find? Resistance, R1. Same for bulb 2. The power P2 is 40 watt. Voltage, it is connected at 220 volt because both are in parallel, both get same voltage. And the resistance R2 is to be found out. So we'll use the formula P1 is equal to V1 square by R1, or R1 is equal to V1 square by P1. Correct? So what is V1 square by P1? It is 220 multiplied by 220 upon P1 is 60. Right? 0, 0 will cut. 2 3s are 2 11s are, and this will simplify and we'll get, so 11 into 22 is 242 by 3 ohms. I'll keep the resistance through the first bulb's filament in fractions. In second also I'll do like that. So P2 will be V2 square upon R2. So R2 will be V2 square upon P2. So R2, this is R1, R2 will be V2 square, which is 220 multiplied by 220 upon the power of the second bulb is 40. Right? So 2 2s are 2 11s are 2 11s are. So R2 will be equal to 121 ohm. Okay, so we got both the resistances. Now since both the resistances are connected in parallel, right? As we can see in the question, both the resistances are connected in parallel. So we can find the equivalent resistance by using the formula 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. So 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1. What is R1? 242 by 3, is it? 242 by 3, yes. So 1 upon 242 by 3 plus 1 upon 121. So 1 upon Rp will be 3 upon 242 plus 1 upon 121. 242 1s are, 121 2s are. 1 by Rp is equal to 3 plus 2 upon 242. Right? So 5 upon 242, or Rp is equal to 242 divided by 5. Still would keep it in fraction. Let's see what happens ahead. So now we have to find, according to the question, we have to find the current drawn from electric supply. That is the total current drawn. We can find it using Ohm's law. Using Ohm's law, current drawn, V is equal to IR. So current drawn I is equal to V by R, and V is 220 and R, we just found R, that is 242 by 5. 242 by 5. So that is 220 multiplied by 5 upon 242. Okay, 2 110s are, 2 121s are, 11 10s are, 11 11s are. So that is 50 divided by 11, and that is 50 divided by 11 is 4.54 ampere. Now you must be wondering that was it necessary to do this long method for finding the current? For first find the individual resistance, then the total resistance, then Ohm's law, and then current. Was it necessary? Couldn't we use a simple formula? See, there is a simple formula. The simple formula is P is equal to V into I. But the problem is we know two powers, that is P1 and P2. So P1 is equal to V1 into I1 and P2 is equal to V2 into I2. So we will get two different currents with these formulae, and if you add both these currents you will get the total current I, which is equal to I1 plus I2, which would be equal to 4.54. So if you want to use this formula to find total current, you can. If in case in question they would ask for individual currents, I would recommend using this formula. But for finding total current, you can use this method also, and you can use the method which I have shown also. Only remember that don't convert any resistance into decimals. Keep it in fraction, because final answers can be converted into decimal, right? So what is the next question? We have found the second one. Third one is calculate the total energy consumed by the two lamps together when they operate for 1 hour. Okay, total energy consumed by both the lamps together when they operate for 1 hour. Now understand one thing, we know the total resistance of the circuit. I'm sorry about that. We know the total resistance consumed by the circuit, 242 by 5. So we can use this somehow to find the total energy consumed by both the bulbs. Again, let's read the question. So there is no question. Calculate the total energy consumed by both the bulbs, lamps together when they operate for 1 hour. Okay. So what do I know now? Let's take the matter over here. See, I know that the total resistance of both the bulbs RP is 242 divided by 5 ohm. Also I know the also I know the voltage. Yeah, the voltage at which both are operated, 220 volt is the voltage at which both are operated. I don't know the power, right? I don't even know the energy. I know the time for 1 hour, right? And I know one formula which says that energy is equal to power into time. So if I somehow find the power, I can find the energy consumed by both the bulbs in 1 hour. But for power, is R and V enough for finding power? Yes, they are enough. V square by R is the formula for power. Power is V square by R. What is V square? 220 multiplied by 220 upon what is R? 242 upon 5. Let's find it out. 220 into 220 into 5 upon 242. 11 20s are 11 22s are 11 2s are 22. Yes, 11 22s are, and 22 10s are. So everything got cut. So the power consumed by both the bulbs is 200 into 5. 200 into 5 is 1000 watt. We have to find energy. Let's find the energy as 1000 watt. Can I write 1000 as 1 kilowatt? and time as 1 hour. So the energy consumed will be 1 kilowatt hour. If both the bulbs are operated together for 1 hour, the energy consumed will be by both of them will be 1 kilowatt hour. So that is the method which I have used. Let's check whether the answer is correct or not. A long question, right? So what they have done is they've used the second formula which I showed you, P1 is equal to V1 into I1, and then they have found I1, I2 and added it to find total current. That's not a problem. Okay, total energy consumed. So they have simply multiplied powers P1 and P2, and those are in watts, and multiplied it with time, and they have found the power in joules. And what I have done is I found the power in kilowatt hour. But remember, 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to 5 joules only. So both are correct answers. They may be different, but they are correct. And the methods are absolutely different. Now it is your judgment. Whichever method suits you, you can use that method, right? Let's go ahead. An electric fuse of rating 3 ampere. So current rating is 3 ampere. That is the maximum current which can flow through this fuse, is connected in a circuit in which electric iron of power 1 kilowatt is connected. Power is 1 kilowatt, which operates at 220 volt. What would happen? Very nice question. Now see, these two things are absolutely different. They have given you power and voltage of electric iron, and they have given you the safe limit of current which is allowed in the circuit in which this electric iron is connected. So what we have to find is, using power and voltage, we have to find the current drawn by electric iron, right? So we know that P is equal to V into I. 1 kilowatt is nothing but 1000 watt in SI unit, is equal to voltage is 220 volt multiplied by I. So I is equal to 1000 upon 220. 2 11s are 2 50s are 50 by 11. Let's see how much is this comes to. So this comes to 4.54 ampere. So this much current will be drawn by this electric iron, but the electric fuse is of 3 ampere rating. That means fuse will not allow any current more than 3 ampere. So as soon as the electric iron will be switched on, remember this, and if you want, note it down. As soon as the electric iron will be switched on, the circuit will draw more current than the rating of fuse, and the fuse will blow off. Blow off means fuse will melt. Fuse wire will melt and the current will stop flowing through the circuit. The circuit will be disconnected. The fuse will blow off. Right? So the chapter is finished. These types of questions are there in the last part. Very interesting part, the last part. So I hope you understood the whole chapter. We took a lot of time completing this chapter. In the future, the speed will be higher, greater, because this chapter was such, the topics were such that I could not attain more speed, because there are so many quantities and topics and small concepts to be covered that I cannot simply just go fast just like how they do it in your school. I don't understand how they finish their syllabus so fast without touching these all small topics and discussing on each and every one of them in detail, right? So I'm going to give you homework now, and the last part's homework will be a big one, huge one. So best of luck for finishing homework, and if you have any doubts, just let me know. Maybe I can make one more video for doubt solving, right? So I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.